What is going on with Tesla? Stock symbol TSLA. This stock is in a complete free fall here. Not looking good. It was trading at $488 a share just as late as December of last year. Now, here in February, we're talking about a stock trading at $328 or 33% lower from its all-time highs. So where do we go from here? Well, what I want to do is I want to go through the technical analysis because right now it's in a free fall. It looks like there's no bottom in sight. But when we start breaking it down using technical analysis, oftentimes there can be some target areas that we can start looking at as a potential bottoming. So that's what we want to do here in this video. So right off the bat, I've already got it drawn up for you here. We have a descending triangle pattern that's in place. This descending triangle pattern tends to mark tops in a stock just like it did here, and it tends to be very bearish. Obviously, when you're talking about topping patterns, those are going to lead you to a bearish outcome. Then right underneath it, you have this support level. And I wasn't sure if this one could offer up any support or not, but what you ended up getting is about a test 2 straight days where it tested it back on Thursday of last week and Friday of last week. But what it wasn't able to do was to provide that bounce. And in order to play these stocks from a bounce standpoint, 3 things needs to happen. You need to get it to test, you need it to hold, and then you need it to bounce. We don't want to be in the habit of trying to predict where the bounce is going to happen or assume that the bounce is going to happen. We need to see it happen, and we want to see it happen off of a key support level to give you that confidence that this support and this bounce that's happening is one that will stick. So right here, this support level, it was a very small one. It only encompassed about a few weeks of price action. I thought maybe that could offer up something. No, it sliced right through it. So that one's out. Then you go a little bit further back and looking at it from a more long-term perspective, and you have this big-time support level. Now you're thinking to yourself, Ryan, there's no way this thing's going down to 260. Well, a lot of you didn't think it was going to go from 488 down to 328 either. So that's always in the cards. And Tesla has a pretty wild history of being a extremely volatile stock. So anything is in the cards with this stock. You also have a rising trend line here. And do you see what's starting to happen here? You're getting converging trend lines starting to play out here. And you have another one right there. I know this is a lot of yellow, so let's go ahead and give it some color here. We'll do it Bob Ross style here. We just got to be able to differentiate all these guys. So these 3 converging trend lines and support levels, they could offer up a decent amount of support, somewhere between this 257 and 275 level. Plus, throw in the 200-day moving average. Now, this doesn't have a really strong history with the 200-day moving average. That's this white line right here. You can see where it has sliced right through it to the upside, to the downside. It doesn't pay too much attention to it. But you did have a period back in 2021 where it rode that 200-day moving average pretty well. So perhaps on this pullback here, it'll pay some attention to it, especially with all of these converging support levels underneath. And as time goes on, these support levels are going to get closer except for this blue line. This blue line will break away from it some. Now, what I'll also like to do is look at it from a weekly chart. I think it's always important to look at stocks from multiple time frames. And in this case, let's throw a Fibonacci retracement on this one. Check this out. We're not even at a 50% retracement. So that's very possible that we at least go to this 50% retracement. But if we get to the 61.8% retracement, and that goes back off of the lows that were achieved on April of last year, that's where we're drawing this Fibonacci from. Well, that 61.8% retracement level comes right in at this 275, right at this first support level, which by the time it tests that level, there's a good chance this rising trend line will be right there at it as well, providing an extra layer of support. So I do think that this 274, 275 level could play an integral part going forward. We're talking about a little more than $50 away from it getting tested. So it's not all that impossible to see something like that happen. Going back to the monthly chart, again, you can see where this stock got extremely overextended, that we're in essentially the first bar of a sell-off. Yes, it had a pretty rough sell-off in January, late January, but still managed to finish slightly green. This is really the first true month of a sell-off, and most of the time, when we've seen sell-offs before with a strong red bar, it's ultimately led to additional months of selling as well, 3 to 4 months usually. So don't count this one out getting all the way back down to the 275 level. And that's about it for Tesla. I just wanted to go over this one. Would I go buy it right now? No, I wouldn't go buy this one at all right now. I like the hat, I like the car, but I don't like the stock at this point in time. I would say wait. If it comes back down to 275, that's where I would start getting interested as a potential bounce play and from a swing trading standpoint. I wouldn't necessarily be looking at it from a long-term perspective unless the market had completely fallen apart at that time, which would offer a better opportunity if the market's extremely oversold along with the stock being oversold. Because the last thing you want to do is get into a stock that's oversold, but the market starts to sell off as well, because then that stock can become even more oversold. If you enjoy this video, I would encourage you to like and subscribe, and let me know down in the comments below, what is your strategy with Tesla going forward? Are you looking to buy this dip, or are you going to wait a little bit longer and see how much further it falls? Remember, catch and follow knives can be a dangerous sport. I definitely don't recommend doing that with stocks, because sometimes you grab by the blade and not by the handle. Thank you guys, and God bless.